Hold fast what you have, that no one may take your crown. He who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my Elohim. He who overcomes, once again, and this is actually one of the main verses in which we can see that it is talking about one person. That's why it's singular. He who overcomes, singular, male. It's talking about the last, the second coming, the witness like Moshe, who will overcome because he comes conquering and to conquer. And he will establish the kingdom of Yahweh on earth. So Yahweh will make him a pillar in the temple, because in the temple there were two pillars, Yakin and Boaz. Yakin means he will establish, Boaz with strength. So the first Yahushua HaMashiach came to establish the kingdom. He said the kingdom was here, but it could not be seen because it is spiritual. He gave us the key to the kingdom. He became the door, the way, etc. So Yahushua came as the first to become Yakin, the pillar Yakin. And then the last comes with strength, the strength given to him by Mashiach, because we can do all things through Mashiach who strengthens us. So Yahweh will establish with strength his kingdom through the first and the last. Yahushua the first came to establish, the last comes with strength. That's why the book of Ruth is very powerful and prophetical, because it talks of Boaz, the pillar that comes as the overcomer to take the congregation of Philadelphia, which is represented by Ruth pretty much. And from that union came David. So interestingly, Mashiach says, who has the key of David, and then talks about making he who overcomes a pillar, Boaz. Now, as we know, and I always explain, he who overcomes makes reference to the last and to the 144,000 who are his body. So him and the 144,000 are one in Mashiach, because they are his body. So Mashiach as the soul, last as the head, and congregation as the body. So they are all one. That is why he becomes a pillar. One could say first and last, Yakin and Boaz, few and many. Another way to say it. So those two groups will be the body of the pillar. Just like the many are flesh and the many are the blood and the few are the flesh of the body. So they will even work together. Just like two pillars represented the two legs. Being the temple, a human body, the most set apart place was the head. The two pillars of the temple were the legs. He who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my Elohim. Yahweh, through Mashiach, is promising the last that he will become like the first, because he is the other pillar of the temple. And he shall go out no more. This is amazing, because David, and we already saw, who has the key of David, meaning who has the power that is going to be given to the last so that he can fulfill and become a pillar in the temple, like David prayed for. Because David, in many of his prayers, talks about he would love to be in the presence of Yahweh forever, because it would be better to be one day in the temple than 1,000 years outside the temple. So Yahweh is promising the last, who is as David, or in Judaism would say is David reincarnated. He would be given that which he prayed for, to be in the temple forever, meaning in his presence. So that's why it says, and he shall go out no more. It will be interesting to see. Well, I'm sure if anybody who does not have faith, even if he claims to have it, reading these kind of things, would see perhaps he shall go out no more as something bad, as, oh, he's going to be in prison or something, for not understanding what I just said regarding the prayer of David. It is better to be one day in the temple than to be 1,000 years away from his presence, outside of the temple. And it doesn't mean a physical temple. It means Mashiach. Mashiach said, destroy the temple, I'll raise it in 3 days, because he was talking about his body. He who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my Elohim, and he shall go out no more. I will, this is important also, I will write on him the name of my Elohim. As I just said, the 144,000 have the name of the Father and the Son on their foreheads. So the witness like Moshe, who is the branch of David, obviously will have it, even though he has to die. for the body, he will have it because he is the one that teaches the name and seals the name on the foreheads, spiritually speaking, of those who are chosen. So it says, I will write on him the name of my Elohim. So Yahweh writes through Yahushua on the last his name so that he will take it to the 144,000. Since the 144,000 will be the body of the pillar, then that means that the 144,000 will have the name of the Father and the Son on their foreheads. And then Mashiach will add the name of the last, the second coming. As we see here, I will write on him the name of my Elohim and the name of the city of my Elohim, the New Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven from my Elohim. Which comes down out of heaven from my Elohim. It is interesting that it comes out of heaven. Therefore, heaven has an in. And I say that because most people see heaven as just open space. But it's not. So, it says, the New Jerusalem. We see in the book of Jeremiah that the New Jerusalem will be called Yahweh Sitkenu. Yahweh Sitkenu. Yahweh our righteousness. And that is the same name that will be given, or title, not name, title, that will be given to the last, the branch of David. So the last and the New Jerusalem will have the same title, just as David called Jerusalem the city of David. So that's why Mashiach is saying here, I will write on him the name of my Elohim and the name of the city of my Elohim, the New Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven from my Elohim. And I will write on him my new name. And I will write on him my new name. So Mashiach will have a new name. To many, Yahushua is a new name, but it's just because to them it's new since they just heard it. But that name has been even before the foundation of the earth. Yahushua came and established that name as the name for salvation 2,000 years ago. But now through the last, he will establish a name of justice or judgment through the last as the consuming fire. So that's why he will have a new name, because the first and the last will become one. So the name of the last will become the name of the first. That's why it says, which comes down out of heaven from my Elohim, and I will write on him my new name. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the congregations. Very important.